Hello, my name is Alistair Hodge, and can I welcome you to this 1 hour webinar on an advance guide to the transfer of Undertakings Regulations 2006. What am I hoping to achieve over the course of the next hour with you? Well, one of the questions that I'm often asked by either instructing solicitors or lay clients is this situation covered by the transfer of Undertakings regulations? And sometimes it's quite a difficult question to answer. But certainly in the context of a business transfer, i.e. a Regulation 31A transfer, very often it's easy to determine. But the problems arise, in my experience, where we're dealing with the provisions of Section 31B, that of a service provision change. And the purpose of this webinar is to give you some pointers as to how best to approach that tricky question as to whether there is going to be a service provision change within the meaning of the regulations. And the way that the session is going to be structured is I'm going to start with just a quick recap on the fundamentals. And for those of you perhaps joining this session who want a more straightforward approach to service provision changes, I of course refer you to my series of 6 short webinars for MBL dealing with business transfers, service provision changes, contracts of employment, dismissals, employee liability information and consultation. But for the purposes of this session, a quick recap on the fundamentals is all we need do. Once I've done that, I'm going to move into the more practical aspects of a service provision change. Because again, one of the things I'm often asked is, well, what are the questions we should be asking ourselves to determine whether there is that provision change? And essentially what I'm going to give you are some pointers towards the questions that you might use to formulate a list of issues in a given case, whether that's for preparing for an employment tribunal or simply for establishing whether there has in fact been a service provision change. I'll then deal with some case law aspects of the various components of a service provision change, and hopefully by the end of that section, you'll be totally au fait with the legislation and how to approach that tricky question of whether there is such a change.